to the next ranks within the force. VOP News gathered that the PSC approved the promotion of 38 as commissioners of police to the next rank of deputy commissioners. The commission also elevated 100 chief superintendents of police to assist commissioners of police. This was made known very recently by the PSC head of press and public relations, Ikechukwu Ani. He said the commission actually took the decision on Thursday, February 20, 2025, at the continuation of its extraordinary plenary meeting held at the corporate headquarters in Jabi, Abuja, and presided over by Chairman DIG Hashimu Agungu, retired. The meeting was attended by Justice Adamu Paul Galmuje, retired Justice of the Supreme Court, and Honorable Commissioner representing the Judiciary, DIG Taiwo Lakonu, Honorable Commissioner representing the Police, and Chief Onyemuchi Namani, Secretary to the Commission. The officers promoted to the new rank of Deputy Commissioners of Police include Emmanuel Dinam, Olufemi Tackett, Yusuf Doki Sani, Joseph Habakak Anche, Faruku Umaru, Danladi Deura, Benedict Omotimola Olomo, Bernard Adedayo Ojewale, Aminuddin Mohammed, and Mohammed Lawal Bello, amongst others. The statement added that these chief superintendents of police who were elevated to assistant commissioners also include others, and the job is to ensure proper service delivery to the Nigerian populace. Now, Senate spokesman Yemi Adaramodu has faulted the action of Senator representing Kogi Central under the People's Democratic Party, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, over a sitting arrangement row in the Hello Chamber. You recall that Natasha refused to use a seat allocated to her on Thursday during the plenary, citing Order 10 of the Senate Standing Rules, which protects the privileges of members. At the height of the situation, the Senate Chamber, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, called on the Senate security
the order of the Senate.
Sir, Order 10 on privileges. Order 10 on privileges.
Distinguished Senator Natasha. Dismissed Senator Natasha, please. Dismissed Senator Natasha, please. You are not recognized to speak from there. That is the order of the Senate.
Sir, Order 10 on privileges. Order 10 on privileges.
Distinguished Senator Natasha.
Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice. A motion declaring that the content of breach of privilege
has been... Show me the session that allows suspension immediately.
Or refer...
It was quite a rowdy session yesterday. That was Senator Natasha Akpoti facing Senate President Godswill Akpabio, insisted on Akpoti-Uduaghan's behalf. Now, in a very recent on Akpoti-Uduaghan's behalf. Now, in a very recent development, the wife and sons of former Executive Secretary of the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, Professor Usman Yusuf, has formally appealed to the United States government for diplomatic intervention to secure his release from detention. In a letter dated February 18, 2025, Iftikhar Abdullah Yusuf, the wife of Professor Yusuf, addressed the American Embassy under the title Request for Consular Assistance for my husband, Professor Usman Yusuf. Similarly, the couple's three sons, Abdullah Adnan and Lukman, wrote to Senator Richard J. Dobbin of Chicago, Illinois, USA, seeking urgent intervention under the same title. Professor Yusuf is currently facing a 5-count charge filed by the EFCC accusing him of embezzlement, conferring undue advantage on himself during his tenure at NHIA between 2016 and 2019. The EFCC alleges that he approved the purchase of a vehicle for 49 million naira, exceeding the budgeted 30 million naira. Now, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, has reacted after former military president of Nigeria, Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, admitted the late Chief MKO Abiola was the winner of the June 12, 1993 election. IBB made the admission during the launch of his autobiography, A Journey in Service, on Thursday. That accident of history is made regrettable. The nation is entitled to expect my impression of regret. Also, IBB's contributions to Nigeria's economy and his strong support for entrepreneurship and private sector growth remains immeasurable. However, Peter Obi, who was present at the event, wrote on his verified X account, "Today, I had the gracious honor of attending the launch of President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida's long-awaited autobiography, A Journey in Service, at the Transcorp Hilton, Abuja. Under his leadership, Nigeria witnessed substantial growth, particularly in the financial sector. He played a key role in fostering a united and equitable Nigeria and economic landscape, ensuring policies that strengthen national cohesion and economic development." According to Peter Obi, he said that from the keynote address on IBB's comment on the 1993 elections, he says such experiences being documented is a welcome development, allowing Nigerians to learn from those who have served and left a lasting impact on the nation. Looking forward to reading the book, which undoubtedly holds valuable lessons. He also disclosed, as one of the keynote speakers talking about democracy and profound moments of the event, was IBB's admission that Chief MKO Abiola won the June 12 election. The acknowledgement, according to Peter Obi, is a step towards national healing, unity and progress of the nation. He disclosed, however, "I hope that one day other key players in Nigeria's democracy will find the courage to recognize the true winners of past elections, allowing a nation to tell its story with honesty and reflection." You're currently listening to the World News at 12 right here in Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll head into a news analysis segment where I actually have right here in the studio Mr. Peter Anosike, who is a political, national and social affairs commentator. Thank you for staying with us. We'll be right back. You're still on to the World News right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. In a very recent development, the Federal High Court sitting in Owerri, Imo State, has presided over by Honorable Justice Oweibo, has acquitted Chika Edozim, the head of the Directorate of State of the Indigenous People of Biafra, of charges related to terrorism, insurgency, kidnapping and violent criminal activities. Justice Oweibo delivered the ruling in a case between Mazi Chika Edozim and the Honorable Minister of Defense and the Chief of Defense Staff. The court declared as illegal the designation of Edozim as a wanted person, terrorist, insurgent, kidnapper, and violent criminal by the Minister of Defense and the Chief of Defense Staff. The ruling also addressed the March 22, 2024 publication of Edozim's name and photograph in the Ministry of Defense's first edition of 2024, labeling him a security threat. Justice Oweibo ruled that the publication violated Edozim's constitutionally guaranteed right to human dignity and was therefore unconstitutional. Additionally, the court ordered the Minister of Defense and the Chief of Defense Staff to immediately retract the unconstitutional declaration, issue an unreserved public apology in 2 national newspapers, and award Mazi Chika Edozim 5 million naira in damages for the infringement on his rights. Edozim was the only individual amongst those named in the notice to successfully challenge the inclusion of his name in the publication. He ranks just below the detained IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. In response to the ruling, IPOB's lead counsel, Ifeanyi Ejiofor, praised the Federal High Court for its historic and landmark judgment, which he says sends a clear message against unjust profiling and emphasizes the importance of due process in security matters. Mr. Peter Anuseke, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on the World News at 12 today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start off with Edozie. It's not the first time we've seen security agencies make wrong profiling, possibly because of, as according to you, sometimes you always say that it's a geographical location disadvantage. How do you react to this?
Well, it's a victory for every IPOB member. It is a victory for every IPOB member. All the IPOB members don't have to file cases. Okay. This has clearly justified that they are not a terrorist, because in philosophy, truth is defined as the conformity of an object with the internet. That's how philosophy is that's how truth is defined. Now, when you call somebody a terrorist, his actions must conform to the definition of that word, terrorism.
Okay.
Understand me? So our Nigerian security agencies, I'm sorry to say, are not very intelligent.
Are you sure? It's about intelligence, or according to you, it has to do with...
Because if they are, they cannot be making all these kinds of mistakes.
You don't think that it's usually such an anomaly where they easily profile without proper investigation?
So that is also an act of not being intelligent, because before you call somebody a terrorist, his actions must conform to the definition of that word.
Does this verify a lot of allegation coming from that axis that that is basically how a lot of young persons have been thrown into several camps or detention centers? Some of them have not been seen. Some of them have not even been given an opportunity to go to court. They just profile them, and sometimes they're wasted.
So for me, this is just a typical case. And why we are having this is because Edozie had the courage to challenge this in court. A lot of them don't have maybe the resources or the boldness to do this. So congrats to Edozie.
Do you think that the defense staff and the defense, the defense chief, the Nigerian defense chief, as well as the military arm, would actually declare an apology to Edozie? Because according to the court's judgment, there must be a publication on 2 national dailies, very popular national dailies, where they would apologize to this young man, and the federal government is meant to recompense him with 5 million naira. Do we see them obeying that court order?
I don't see them obeying, but even if they don't obey, the court of competent jurisdiction has vindicated him. Because once this wrong profiling comes, the person loses a lot. Understand me?
Yes.
His business partners will be running away from him. His friends will run away, and so on and so forth. So that is why this happened. And for me, I'm sure that he shouldn't stop. He should sue the federal government on damages.
Well, if this is a win, according to you right now, the court has actually asked the federal government to, recompense him with 5 million naira. So what's the essence of him suing the federal government again?
And he not on his reputation, on his business, on his personality. Even his children will be suspecting him. Daddy, they say that you are a terrorist. His wife will be suspecting him. Understand me? So he should make sure that this fire keep on burning.
You think it's going to get to a plausible, encouraging conclusion, considering how the system works here?
He should make sure that justice is already on his own side. So he should keep this fire burning.
All right, I want us to briefly take a listen to this, and then afterwards I'm going to ask you my next question. It's very important that we have this conversation today.
There's a gentleman here who was an elected senator in 1992 in the course of Babangida's transition program. When Babangida annulled the 1993 election and General Abacha took over and dissolved the Senate, that senator tried to reconstitute the Senate in resistance to the dissolution. He was detained, charged to court. He escaped into exile. Today, he is also here to celebrate with his former tormentors.
Now, in this very short audio you listened to, this was Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the book launch yesterday. A couple of persons would not understand the humor that and the supposed sarcasm a lot of people were laughing over. If you know how the June 12 election went and what transpired afterwards, a lot of innocent persons died, a lot of notable Nigerians in the struggle for democracy. In fact, our current president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who wanted to reconstitute the Senate, was one of the persons who went on exile because if he was caught, he would have been imprisoned. Abiola died. His wife died. His children lost. A lot of Nigerians lost. Journalists died. IBB has come out to tell us that indeed the June 12 election was won, but it was not really his fault. At the end of the day, does it mean all those people who died for nothing?
Excuse me, did Osinbajo tell Nigerians that he was an SA to Babangida? Did he say that?
No, he didn't say.
Why?
That.
Why? So all of them are telling one-sided story, including Osinbajo himself. Osinbajo worked under Babangida. So
at the time he was a military dictator?
Sure. Babangida is the president. Osinbajo was an SA to Babangida. So these are what people are covering. But I thank God that some of us, they cannot fool us. He was an SA to IBB. So now saying that this guy tried to reconvene the Senate, and today he's here with his former tormentor. Osinbajo was working for the tormentor.
Now let's look at the scenario. In that gathering, a lot of political bigwigs and stalwarts were there. A lot of them also experienced that June 12 election and the aftermath. Some of them were also possibly still part of the elitist angle of the society at the time. And they all converged. They all smiled. They shook hands. They contributed money, in purchasing the book. At the end of the day, when we see normal Nigerians fight on behalf of these politicians, are they fighting to the fact that they know that these people have a common goal? They are united at the echelon there. If you're fighting for them, aren't you wasting your time?
That's a mistake that the poor make. The rich don't fight themselves, but the poor fight for the rich. Understand me? The rich don't fight for themselves. The poor fight for the rich. Understand me?
The reason why I ask this question, Mr. Peter Nosike, is if you go on social media, ever since this administration headed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into power, I have never seen this country disunited as it is today. It is this dispensation.
Excuse me, did you hear what General Gowon said there?
Go ahead, please.
Gowon told Babangida, you were one of those that removed me from power. Understand me? So to them, everything is fun, it's joke. Thousands of people died.
That's what I'm asking. I say people are taking on the responsibility of having to defend the president because they're supporting the president or supporting any political party that they actually are vying for. But at the echelon, they are united. Why is that so? Because
they have common interest to use or the poor. That's to enhance their ambitions. Understand me? They have one common interest to use the poor to enhance their common interest. That's the truth. Is that if you don't use people, you cannot prosper.
Peter Obi
and the people that they are using are the poor.
Peter Obi said that he expects that one day, or he hopes that one day, other key players in Nigeria's democracy will find the courage to recognize the true winners of past elections, allowing our nation to tell its story with honesty and reflection. Do you know what he means by that particular phrase in his report on X?
I understand, and I hope that other Nigerians understand.
Okay.
And what he's simply saying is that he won the 2023 presidential election.
You think he's just referring to the 2023 elections or other elections as well, that the true results were not declared?
What he's saying is that now Abiola own has been confirmed 33 years after. So, and we also know something happened in 2019. Understand me? We also know that something happened in 2023. So that's where P2B is going. So it will just moment of truth, moment of confession. That's what we saw there.
All right, let's say a situation where that book raked about almost 17 or 18 billion naira in that book launch. And it begs the question for Nigerians to ponder as to where we're heading. IBB coming out to make this statement. A couple of persons have said he's being courageous. I mean, he's filled with courage. It takes a lot of courage to admit to Nigerians that indeed you take responsibility for that, meaning that you take responsibility for the loss of lives, you take responsibility for the raping of our democracy at the time, and that you're asking Nigerians to move on. Now, let's come into the 1967 Civil War. Do you think that if there is a conversation on that, on a national level like this, that there will be healing, national healing, and proper integration of the regions who have been sidelined ever since the Civil War?
Well, the truth is that after the end of the Civil War, Gowon set up what he called the 3 R's.
Okay. Understand
me? Which were just which was not implemented.
Okay.
Understand me? So even NYSC, which was set up in 1973, is part of the national
reintegration.
Understand me? So there was an attempt on that.
Okay.
Understand me?
Then what happened? What happened then?
The issue is this. Gowon then had a good heart. Understand?
Then he had a good heart.
Yes.
Now he doesn't have a good heart?
Gowon then had a good heart. Understand me? Because one of the reasons why Gowon was overthrown by Murtada Mohammed was because he appointed somebody from the southeast.
Okay.
Understand? Into a very key ministry. And when that was happening, Murtada Mohammed walked out of that room. Babangida followed him. Understand me? It was at that point in time they begin to conceive the idea of overthrowing General Yakubu Gowon. So he had a mind of rehabilitating, reconciling the people that's of the south.
Just like how you have with the Boko Haram.
Understand me?
Those who have dropped their arms.
Understand me? So he had that intention. But those working with him, the Murtada Mohammed of this world, the Babangida of this world, were not on the same page with him, and they shoved him away.
All right. It's been years since then. And no national leader who emerged as president have thought it important to actually create a panel for reconciliation. I know that the Opit dad was the head of that panel. A lot of confessions and probing and questions were asked as to what transpired in the Civil War. The active military officers who were still alive were able to give testament. Some of them who wrote books were able to talk about it. But it's not enough. The division, the isolation, the pains are still there, which obviously is concerning the detention of Nnamdi Kanu. So don't you think it is time in our national polity, if Nigeria intends to move forward, if Nigeria intends to grow, that aspect is revisited and possibly conversations are heard for national healing and economic growth? Well,
the issue is this. You cannot do something that will not benefit you.
So you're saying it will not benefit Nigeria if they call for a consensus for national healing?
just like telling INEC to amend our electoral system so that it will be transparent. It will be understanding. They know that they are not winning election. They cannot win if the election is transparent. So they will not do it. So what politicians do is divide and rule.
Okay.
Kind of hindering. Understand me? National renaissance, rebirth is not going to benefit them.
So they would deliberately allow the division, the emancipation, the isolation of a certain region of the country that, is part of the country. No economic integration. They will let it continue like that for certain goals or political gains.
That's what's happening. Just like if you look at 2025 budget, there's no capital project for the Southeast.
Obviously, we saw that.
Understand me? There's no capital project for the Southeast. And some people are in the National Assembly talking nonsense. People like Benjamin Kano. Understand me? Praising Tinubu, and his region is decaying. Understand me? So this is what they use everywhere in the world. Understand me? Destroy some, empower some for their own interest.
All right.
So national rebirth, national unity will not favor the politicians. Even good governance will not even be of any help to them.
That is really sad.
They want the people to be getting poorer and poorer so that 2027, 5,000 naira will be big money for them.
Mr. Peter Anosike, the question a lot of Nigerians asked after, I'm sure, I don't know if you listened to the World News at 6 yesterday with Chioma Innocent, because she spoke with the son of late MKO Abiola, and he was all about, thank God this is out, and thank God we need to move on. He was more about moving on and not having to, focus on the wound that June 12 election had. But in as much as he is ready to move on, a couple of persons are still, they're very angry. And they're wondering, is this just it? Is this just how it's going to be?
That's one thing that our politicians are benefiting a lot, because Nigerians know how to move on. Understand me? Nigerians know how to move on. Fuel will be selling at 1,500 a liter. We will protest today, tomorrow we move on. As if nothing, as if all is well.
Wow.
Understand me? Rice will go for 150,000 naira a bag. We'll continue today, to tomorrow we move on. So the politicians are benefiting from this moving on.
But why now though? To be honest, why now? A couple of persons felt Buhari knew, and that was why he declared June 12 Democracy Day. So the whole question for everyone is, why now? What does this connote? Is it just for the sale of the book? Is it to be in the history record that at least finally he has been able to confine and say, indeed, the June 12 elections was one of the best, transparent elections we've had, but, everything was scuffled, and taking responsibility?
People are attributing courage to Babangida's book. To me, it's a shock, because Babangida showed cowardice in that book.
Okay.
You are the C in C, and you cannot control Abacha. You call yourself the evil genius. Understand me? And you were not even there. You don't even know, according to him, that some people want to, the election was annulled without you being aware, under your own watch.
But when he finally knew, why didn't he set up a transitional government? Why didn't he let everyone know that, okay, I wasn't here when my officers or those working with me annulled this election, so we're going to set up an interim government for a transitional government so that we can hand over power to the person who democratically won that election?
No, an interim government was really set up and Ernest Shoneko appointed.
Okay.
Understand? But why didn't he retire Abacha when he was going? Abacha was the chief of defense staff. He should have retired all the service chiefs. Why did he keep Abacha? So the truth is that he kept Abacha to overthrow Shoneko, and that's what Abacha did.
So So you're saying everything was calculated?
Understand me?
Well, a couple of political bigwigs and economists have actually contributed to the fact that he was a strong support for entrepreneurship and private sector growth, which they have said remains immeasurable. They gave quite a lot of attributions in positive light about his implementation in Nigeria's economy. How would you react to
They
that?
are not being sincere. They are hypocrites. This the valuation of our currency started with Babangida's SAP, Structural Adjustment Program. So most people don't know history. Babangida took IMF loan and they gave him condition. Understand? You must devalue the currency. You must stop any social security. That was how. Go and read the Structural Adjustment Program SAP under IBB. Since then, our naira has not recovered. So all I know is that Babangida built a lot of people. Understand me? Babangida built a lot of people. He has friends all over. So the person that I can compare in building people is Tinubu.
Do you think Peter Obi is lacking in that regard, building people?
Grossly.
Is that why there is no loyalty? A couple of persons have really defected. Valentine Uzigba has now gone to the APC. A lot of persons who were not in support of the APC are defecting to the APC. What does this say about possibly if he intends to continue his political career? What does this say about, those who we thought were loyalty? A couple of persons felt she was unnecessarily dramatic. A couple of persons felt that is a woman Amazon, facing a couple of strong men in the political hierarchy, persons like Senator Godswill Akpabio, the Senate president. And then one of the senators have come here on national television, I think this morning, I'm sure we talked about it as well, and on the other channels television last night, where he said that she refused to relocate, has said, and that is against the Senate standing rules. And if she had done what she was supposed to do initially, Senator Godswill Akpabio would have listened to her. But she has complained on several occasions, specifically on that day, that she's been silenced, she's been put aside, sidelined, she's been bullied. Do you think that's the case?
For me, there's a standing order in the Senate. The new members stay at the back.
Okay.
Understand me? The new members stay at the back, while the older ones stay in the front. And Senator Natasha is a new member.
Okay.
So even though she's heading a committee, which is a privilege.
Okay.
Understand me? Because there is ranking in the Senate.
Yes, there is ranking.
So as a new member, her position should be at the back. Understand? But the truth is that there's a saying that the more things changes, the more they remain the same.
The same.
What Senator Natasha did, Akpabio did worse under Saraki.
That's true. He staged the walkout.
Understand me? Akpabio did worse under Saraki. Akpabio left his own seat, come to the front. Even there was no mic where Saraki said, Senator Akpabio, go back to your seat so that I can recognize you. So what she is, and again, when he did that, Saraki never ordered him to be removed, to be thrown out of the Senate.
Or even suspended.
So
what are we seeing here? What kind of power play is this? A couple of people think, is it because she's a woman? If it were a man, would Akpabio have spoken to her like that? Would he have instructed that she be let out of the Senate and all that? They're bringing in gender disparity here.
So what Natasha did, Akpabio had done the same thing. Okay. But the treatment that Akpabio gave to Natasha, Saraki did not give that same treatment to him.
Okay.
Understand? But for me, I like Natasha's courage.
Okay.
She's representing the woman folk very well. Understand me?
Yes.
She's presenting herself as the voice of the women. And I like that so much. The way Akpabio was elected was the way she was elected. She is there to represent her own people and must not keep quiet. Understand me? her people thing must not miss. Understand me?
Okay.
So she is carrying the weight of the women on her head.
Yes.
The weight of Kogi Central on. So I'm proud of her.
Okay. Well, for the senator there who actually came to explain the situation and how things actually went a little bit out of hand before control was restored, he dismissed bullying allegation of Senator Senator Natasha rather, and that she is actually the chairman of a committee, but that as a first time she ought to stay on with the rules of engagement in the Senate. This is Adaramodu, who represents Ekiti South Senatorial District, and he said the National Assembly is not for content creation in entertainment. What does he mean by that?
There's nothing like if we talk about content creation, it is Akpabio that is doing this. It is Akpabio that is doing a skit in the National Assembly.
Can you cite instances where he has actually been very comical? And
when he said that prayers will be sent to your email, understand me, put off the microphone, that here is not a nightclub. Understand me? So he's not conducting all the affairs of the upper chamber in a very mature way. And once you are not doing this, a lot of things will be going haywire. Understand me?
All right, Mr. Peter Anosike, thank you very much. Finally, though, how do you see the president attending IBB's book launch? Because what former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo said, it was ironical, it was humorous, but it had a lot of message.
No, it has a very strong message.
It has a very strong message.
It has a very strong message, which is not even good for IBB. If they are anything, they thought deep. They say only the deep can call the deep. But most of our leaders are not deep in their thinking.
Or they knew, they just laughed over
Most of them are not deep in. I have been with governors. When they talk, you imagine. So this is somebody that is presiding over 5 million people.
Yes.
So a lot of them are not deep in their thinking. He just passed a message that this guy is a dictator.
Yes, exactly.
Understand me?
Yes.
That this guy is a so.
And he's there whining and dining with the person who tormented him at some point.
Understand me? So for me, it is good that he was there, and that where else would he have been with people with Obasanjo and Jonathan Gowon? So he was where he's supposed to be. I cannot imagine any more important assignment than that. So it's good that he is there.
All right. I do hope that the presidency will not choose or what you call selective reaction, because Yemi Osinbajo actually says something that is quite deep, and they should not select and say, oh, react to what Peter Obi said. No, Peter Obi said at some point we'll begin to see if indeed the true definition of elections, the way they are conducted, actually disclosed to Nigerians.
Yes, I pray that at some time in the future, let them tell us who won 2019 presidential election
and 2023
presidential election. Understand me?
Right.
So more people will be given this GCFR in the future.
Mr. Peter Anosike, thank you so much for patiently responding to questions posed at you. I sincerely do appreciate your intellectual input.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. To wrap up here again are the top stories. Police Service Commission approves promotion of over 100 senior police officers. Senate speaks on disciplinary actions against Natasha Akpoti. A delegate shuns federal government's directive, insists Osun local government elections will hold. Professor Usman's family writes U.S. Embassy, tables fresh request before American Senator. Peter Obi reacts to IBB's June 12 election disclosure. That's a wrap on the World News at 12. My name is Esther Wachuku. Good afternoon. Thank you for listening. Join us for Martyrs at precisely 1:30 p.m. To have yourself a lovely Friday.